All right, review number 6. We're rolling now. And again, just a reminder in case you may have forgotten over the past couple of days, tips for you in thinking about how you're going to review for this. If you've got notes on these to look back at, great. Watching this is a good idea because you're getting a physical example. But you also can go to my YouTube page and my website to work some on looking up some. But I will take this opportunity to make a shameless plug again for both my website. Again, you can go through the Harlem website or you can go direct at www.huskiesmath.edublogs.org, or you can check me out on YouTube at Harty Math. And again, the search engines on there are great. You just type in the section number that you're looking for and it takes you to what you need. So just something to ponder. Okay, solve by completing the square. Remember, reminder, we need our v terms, our variable terms, on a side by themselves first if they aren't. 2, it's already ready. 1, it's not. Once we've done that, go back, we take our b value, the value that just has v, not the v squared one. We divide it by 2, we square it, and that value gets added to both sides of my equation because I don't want to change the equation. And by doing the same thing to both sides, I don't change that at all. So I get to this part, and I say, okay, this is supposed to be in its binomial form. Sounds so hard to do, but it's not. All I've got to do is take that b divided by 2 number, or I could do my diamond on this. To get to here, we square root, because we got to get rid of the squared so I can get to the v. Square root of 25 is 5, but be careful. Quadratic, don't forget your plus minus. I know, there's so many little details to have to think about, right? But that's one of the things about math class. It's helping you with that logic and problem solving and attention to detail that sometimes we struggle with. So minus the 8 over. And again, I can actually get the answers this time. Negative 8 plus 5 is negative 3. Negative 8 minus 5 is negative 13, and I can actually get the solutions. If there was like a square root on it, that might be the furthest I'd be able to go. So let's see here. Let's get us another one of these to do. Let's try out number 5. So let's see, we gotta isolate. We've gotta divide. Now, this one runs us into something a little bit different than we've seen on a couple of these others that have come out nice. I get my n, I get my plus minus. No i's to pull out, there's no negatives. But again, 40 might break down. 40 just may have a perfect square that's a divisor of it. So let's see, 40. 25, no. 16, no. 9, no. 4, oh. 4 and 10. If you're not sure, do 40 divided by 4 in your calculator. It'll give you the other value. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 10. And we're ready to roll. So that's how that would work. We're always looking to try and isolate that value as best as we can. Okay? But you've always got to get that alone before you do your square rooting. Solve each equation with the quadratic formula. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And yes, this will be on the exam as well, so no worries. Okay, let's say we do number 10. So my a value is 3, my b value is 10, my c value is negative 9. So we've got negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now, we've talked before about how I would tackle this. I would personally not try to type that all into the calculator at once. There's way too many things that could go haywire. So my plan would be to take what's underneath here, not with the square root, but just with the values. And then just kind of work this along. So negative 10 plus or minus the square root of 208 over 6. Now again, I can't start reducing stuff yet. I got to see if this breaks down, and I can't cancel what's underneath there. Now, word of advice, I would take that number and I would see if there was something that might go into it. So I'm like, okay, 4 and 52, that's great. Wait a minute, if 4 goes in, let's think about this for a minute. Is there a bigger number than 4 that goes in? I don't think 9 is going to go in. Okay, what about 16? Ooh, 16. And 13 isn't a number that normally breaks down. So, okay, 16 and 13. Okay, so I can even use my green sheet to help me out some more. So negative 10 plus or minus 4 square root of 13 over 6. And the last thing I want to look out for in every problem when I'm doing this is, are those numbers outside the radical? Does anything divide into all of them? If the answer is yes, then we need to do that. And these are all divisible by 2. And I'm set. Okay? So it can take a little work. There can be some little places that can get us, but it's another one of those things, if you forgot and left this, it'd be such a small deduction you probably wouldn't even notice. Use the info provided to write the standard form equation of a circle. We've done one of these before, but we'll pop another one in here. So let's say let's do the nasty one. Let's do 14. So my first job is to get all my x terms together in one place. Get all my y terms together. You're like, what's up with the blanks? I'll talk about that in just a second. And then anything that doesn't have an x or a y has to move to the other side. So I got to minus the 209 over. But there are going to be the same 2 blanks that there are on the other side. And we're going to use completing the square in order to fill all this in. So just like before, take my b, divide it by 2, and square it. So 169 goes here and squished over there. Same with my y terms. I take the negative 14 divided by 2, keep it in parentheses when you square it. Then again, when I go to binomial form, just take your b divided by 2 number, a positive 13. Just take your b divided by 2 number, a negative 7. And then those add up to 9, and I've got my standard form. I could find the center if I wanted to, just the opposites of those. I could find the radius if I just took the square root of that. Not a bad deal, not a bad deal, not a bad deal. Over to the back, find each product. We've talked about these. We use the big ol' box for these. And again, when I'm multiplying, and that's what I'm doing to fill the box, I add the exponents together. Add the exponents. Multiply the coefficients. Then just don't leave it in the box. We got to put the like terms together. Upper left starts me off. Again, we're just Combining like terms here, no more messing with variable terms. 15 plus 1 is 16r squared. 5 and 5 is 10. It's 25. And I'm set. So kind of going along with that a little bit when we get down to 19. We're going to get down here and we're like, okay, I have to multiply by what's called the complex conjugate. I'm just changing the sign of the I part of things. Okay, not everything, just the I part. Up in the numerator, I'll just distribute through. 28i plus 35i squared. We'll come back to that in a minute. Down below, I need to FOIL this out, or in my favorite way of doing it, do a box. And if we do this right, all the i's are going to disappear. So 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 5i is 20i. Negative 5 times 4 is negative 20i. And negative 5 times positive 5 is negative 25i squared. Now here's where we have a little bit of thinking to do. And we talked in one of the earlier reviews about how I squared equals negative 1. It just basically changes the sign of what you have. So this would be 28i minus 35. Because what's this really? 35 times negative 1. Because that's what I squared is. Same thing going on down here. Negative and positive 20i cancel. And originally I have 16 minus 25i squared. But again, this is negative 25 times negative 1, which is really 16 plus 25, which is 41. And then I don't have the i's in the denominator anymore, and I'm done. Next section, state the degree of the polynomial. Look for the biggest exponent, because that's where you will find your degree. And then finally, down at the bottom, the following equation represents the height of a ball being kicked into the air. Find the maximum height of the ball in the time that it hits the ground. Height is measured in feet and time in seconds. Okay. So out of all of that, here's what we basically mean. We're going to put this into the calculator. And we're going to look at the graph. You're like, well, wait a minute, I can't see the top here. Okay, well, let's adjust the window a little. Let's see, maybe if we go to 30. Okay, that's a little bit easier to see. So I want to know the maximum height of the ball. So, second trace, we want to find the maximum. So I get as high, close to the top as I can. A couple clicks to the left, enter. A couple clicks to get back. A couple more to get to the right with 2 enters. And I get this maximum value. Now, the maximum height, the height isn't my x value, the height is my y. So my max height, and I only want the y value of it, is 24.6. And it doesn't mention, but I think when it doesn't mention, that'd be feet. So I put that in. The time that it hits the ground. That, I would want the x value of when it hits the ground down here, because this is where my y would be 0. So I want the 0. I'm going to work my way down. Looks like that's as close as I'm going to get. So again, a couple to the left, enter, a couple to get back, and a couple more to get to the right. So about 2.4 seconds. And again, we're set with this one. There's only a couple to go. keep working at it, keep trying them, check the keys, check online for things, do what you got to do to make yourself successful.